Imagine this, the WNBA drops a full 44-game schedule for its massive 30th anniversary season. Two brand new franchises are joining. The league is expanding to 15 teams for the first time in over 20 years. Fans are already circling dates, rivalries are forming, and social media is buzzing. And yet, no one actually knows when the season can legally start. On top of that, nearly 80% of the players you're planning to watch in 2026 don't even have contracts. The free agency market is completely frozen. Team executives are just waiting. And standing right in the middle of this chaos is Caitlin Clark, the one player who might come out of all this with more power than anyone else in women's basketball. The WNBA is entering 2026 in a way it never has before. This is supposed to be a celebration year, the league's 30th season, the long-awaited return of the Portland Fire name, and the debut of the Toronto Tempo as the league's first Canadian franchise. That expansion bumps the league to 15 teams in a 44-game regular season, the longest in its history. The schedule's already out. Portland and Toronto are locked in. Matchups are booked. On paper, everything looks ready for a landmark year. But hanging over all of it is one giant problem. The current collective bargaining agreement runs out at the end of 2025. Originally, this CBA was supposed to last through 2027. That changed when the Players Association, the WNBPA, chose to exercise its opt-out clause last October. That decision basically hit a reset button on the entire financial and structural setup of the league. Once the union opted out, everyone knew 2026 would be played under a new agreement. The problem is, as of now, there is no new agreement. Negotiations are ongoing, but by all reporting, they're stuck. There's a stalemate on core issues like salary structure, revenue sharing, and player conditions, and no deal has been announced. Without a CBA, the WNBA can't finalize contracts for 2026. So while that shiny 44-game schedule is public, the legal foundation needed to actually play those games is still missing. That's why you're hearing so much about this rumored February 1st date. That date has become the unofficial cutoff point. If the league and the WNBPA can reach a deal by then, training camps and the regular season can still start more or less on time in April and May. If they don't, things get dangerous very quickly. Right now, because there's no new CBA in place, the league is operating under a moratorium. That means teams cannot sign players to 2026 contracts. Options, extensions, and new deals are all on hold. The result? Roughly 80% of the league is technically not under contract for 2026. Veteran stars, key role players, bench pieces, longtime contributors, they're all in limbo. They don't know what the salary cap will look like, they don't know what the new maximum salary will be, they don't know what share of league revenue they'll have access to. They don't even know which teams will have real spending power once the dust settles. And here's where it gets even wilder. If a new CBA does get hammered out around that February 1st target, what follows is going to be one of the most chaotic off-seasons in the WNBA history. The timeline is brutally condensed. In just a few weeks, the league will have to finalize and announce the new economic system, hold an expansion draft so the Portland Fire and Toronto Tempo can build their initial rosters, then immediately pivot into full-blown free agency, with hundreds of players hitting the market at the same time. All of this has to happen before training camps open in April. General managers hate this scenario. It's a nightmare of cap math, roster planning, and split-second decisions. One misread on the cap or one overpay could hurt a franchise for years. But for one player, this perfect storm might turn into the biggest opportunity of her career. Caitlin Clark. While almost everyone else is waiting to find out how much money they can earn and where they'll be allowed to sign, Clark is sitting in a completely different position. She's locked into a rookie scale contract with the Indiana Fever. That deal is already set. The moratorium doesn't change it. The new CBA won't suddenly rip it up and start over. That gives her something incredibly valuable in this moment: security. While veteran all-stars are nervously watching the negotiations, wondering if the new cap will help or hurt them, Clark knows exactly what she's making and where she'll be playing. She doesn't have to worry about chasing a deal. She doesn't have to worry about being squeezed out by new financial rules. She can focus entirely on who Indiana puts around her, and that's where her real power lies. Because let's be honest, Caitlin Clark isn't just another rookie anymore. She's the face of the WNBA. She is the main ratings draw, the headline name, the marketing engine sponsors and networks are building around. That matters when players are choosing where to sign their next big contract. Early reports around the new CBA suggest something dramatic, the possibility of a salary cap that could effectively triple and the introduction of a $1 million max base salary for top players. If that kind of jump becomes reality, veteran stars across the league will be lining up to cash in on what could be the most player-friendly deal in WNBA history. And where will they want to do that? On teams that can win, maximize their visibility, and boost their long-term earning potential on and off the court. Right now, there is no more attractive destination than playing next to Caitlin Clark in Indianapolis. She's already shown she can run an offense at a high level. She gets teammates easier looks. She draws double teams and national attention. For a free agent weighing similar offers from multiple teams, the chance to be on the floor with the league's premier playmaker in the middle of this WNBA boom is a major selling point. That's the quiet advantage Indiana holds going into this compressed offseason. While other teams are scrambling just to figure out who they can afford, the Fever front office has a clear mission: lock in a core that fits Clark and is ready to contend under the new financial landscape. At the top of that to-do list is Lexie Hull. Hull is hitting the market as a restricted free agent, which gives Indiana the right to match any offer sheet she signs elsewhere, and they have every reason to be ready to match. Her perimeter defense is elite. She takes on tough assignments, chases shooters, and brings the kind of grit on the wing that doesn't always show up in basic stats, but changes games. On top of that, her on-court chemistry with Clark last season was obvious. She understands spacing, cuts at the right time, and doesn't need the ball in her hands to be effective. In a league where defensive stoppers who can also hit open shots are at a premium, losing Hull would be a major step back for Indiana's plans. So as money starts flying around the league once the CBA is done, you can fully expect the Fever to prioritize keeping her in-house. Then there's Sophie Cunningham. Her 2025 season was cut short by a knee injury, but everyone around the WNBA knows what she brings when healthy. She's physical, she doesn't back down, she can knock down threes, mix it up defensively, and set a tone that says, "We're not letting anyone push our star around." That enforcer mentality is not about dirty play, it's about presence. Opponents think twice before taking liberties with your franchise player when you have someone on the floor who is clearly willing to stand up and set boundaries. As Caitlin Clark's profile continues to rise, that kind of toughness in her supporting cast becomes more and more important. If Indiana can navigate this March-level chaos, the expansion draft, the free agent frenzy, the new cap rules, and come out of it with both Lexie Hull and Sophie Cunningham in the fold, Clark could go into 2026 with the most balanced and battle-ready roster she's ever had around her. Of course, they won't be operating in a vacuum. Portland and Toronto will be extremely aggressive, both in the expansion draft and in open free agency. The fire and the tempo need to build brands, not just rosters. They'll be chasing big names, experienced leaders, and players who can immediately make them competitive. They have the allure of fresh starts in new markets, especially Toronto, with the pull of being the league's first Canadian team. But when it comes down to it, if you're a veteran star choosing between being a centerpiece on a brand new team with no playoff history, or being a key piece alongside Caitlin Clark on a Fever squad that's already building momentum, that's not an easy call. Indiana's pitch basically writes itself. Come play with the most talked about player in the sport on a team built to win now under a richer CBA. That's why this messy, unstable offseason might quietly be the best thing that ever happened to Clark's competitive window. Teams that have been comfortable and static are going to be forced into hard choices. Rosters that felt locked are going to break open. Mid-tier squads that thought they had time to develop might get raided in the expansion draft or be forced to let talent walk. And in the middle of that, the Fever can position themselves as a destination for veterans who want to win and capitalize on the new financial reality. The bigger the cap, the more room smart front offices will have to build depth and versatility. If the maximum base salary does climb toward that $1 million mark, you're going to see a separation between franchises that simply spend money and those that spend it well. Indiana's advantage is that they already have the hardest piece to find, a franchise-defining guard who makes everyone around her better and sells tickets in every building she plays in. The uncharted territory for the WNBA's 30th season isn't just about expansion to 15 teams or a 44-game schedule. It's about reshaping the power structure of the league in a matter of weeks. Who gets paid? Who gets left out? Who gets to choose their ideal situation? And for once, a young player on a rookie deal might be sitting in the best position of all. If the CBA gets done in time, what happens between February and April is going to look like a different kind of March Madness. GMs frantically calling agents, players flying in and out of cities, Portland and Toronto building their first ever rosters, and almost everyone in the league figuring out their future on an accelerated clock. While that storm hits, Caitlin Clark's job is simple. Keep working, stay healthy, and let Indiana's front office use her presence as the anchor for everything they do. If they nail this offseason, if they secure Lexi Hall, if they bring back or replace Sophie Cunningham with the right kind of toughness, if they take advantage of nervous teams and underpriced free agents, then when that 30th anniversary season finally tips off, the Indiana Fever won't just be a fun young team with a star guard. They'll be one of the most dangerous destinations in a league that's more wide open and more high stakes than ever before.